amount. He handed the check back to Yolanda, and then they made a payment arrangement and a memorandum of agreement, which is a North Carolina state approved document by DOI. A memorandum was filled out for her to pay the balance of $750. That's all I was requiring for her to pay. We didn't receive that payment. She asked if she could have a little time on that. We said that, my husband told her that was fine. She ended up paying it. She has a receipt for the $750. The $750 was my insurance company's fee to post that bond. They have since received their $750. My husband and I did not make a dime off of doing her bond. So when you look at the charges of obstruction of justice and dishonest business practice and perjury, it baffles me to think that my husband did not charge above the 15% that is state law that what we can charge. He refunded somebody their money basically and decided to charge less, and now my husband has felony charges pending.
But I think Ms. Smith even said earlier that there's nothing wrong for charging nothing if you chose to.
You can charge nothing if you do not. I mean, I would still have to commit to pay my insurance company, but that money would come out of my pocket. Right. If I wanted to charge the consumer $0, I can do that.
Okay. Let me ask.
And then also, at the end of the day, the court's not going to look at what we charge. They're going to look at if that bond go bad, somebody got to pay that bond.
Okay.
So it boils down to
if you get felony charges, what happens to your business?
He will lose his license, which he is the backbone to the business. He helps support the business. I pretty much do the office part of it. He goes out and does the bonds and the apprehensions along with our agents. So it will cause our business to suffer greatly. And it already has. We have built our business to be a credible business, and we fight the statistics of being an interracial couple in a very racist town of Johnston County, and we try to fight that stigmatism. And now he's been paraded through papers. People are looking at him as well as he's just a typical black guy when he's always tried to live up to higher expectations of who he is. And like I said, this has definitely been a very hard pill to swallow for our family.
Right.
How do you tell your children that the job that you do, releasing people from jail, now your dad's in jail?
Right. Right.
And all this is trumped up.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yes, my name is Walter McNeil III. I used to be employed with Lumberton Police Department, but I'm retired now. Back in 1996, while I was a police officer, I was accused of being engaged with sex with a female on one morning that I was off duty, and they claimed that my radio was keyed up and transmitting. I was told about a week before then that I was being investigated by another white police officer who had came to me at the Exxon station and talked with me about it. And what he said was that he was in the North Station and two more police officers was up there, and they was talking about Sarge was in the patrol car having sex with a female and his radio was keyed up. So he was pertaining to about me. This officer also told me that I was being investigated. He asked me himself because he started probably about a year after I had started the police department. He asked me, he said, Big Duke, you didn't do that. I said, no, man. So it went on. A week later, or a couple days later, I was called up to the office and I was told that I was going to be investigated by Sergeant Mickey Biggs. Mickey Biggs began to run his little investigation. They supposedly had listened to the tape, everything that was said, it was recorded. This is Mickey Biggs on the right side.
Is he the one? Okay. All right.
So after I was, after the investigation began to take place, Major Jackie Teller, he called me up to the office and he gave me my rights. He read me my rights and gave me a copy. And everything supposed to have took place on November the 16th, 1996. Which I knew it was a lie, and I knew I wasn't guilty of being engaged in sex with a female on the morning of November 16th, 1996. So it went on, it played out. So that was the first part of the investigation. The second part of the investigation, Mickey Biggs came up with another investigation. He said that Cynthia Powell filed a sexual harassment complaint against me. Claimed that I had stopped her dead at the parking lot of Stock store one night at around 11:30 a.m., 11:30 p.m. So come to find out, he went all up to the store, he talked to the people who ran the store and all. Nobody saw a police officer on that particular night that I suppose had stopped her. People on the street said that Sergeant McNeil didn't stop no car that night, that they was on the block, didn't see me out stopping no car. So he came up with a third female who's supposed to have filed a complaint against me. Her name was Cindy Pittman. Miss Pittman supposed to have made a statement against me. She's supposed to have said that I had walked in the cool on her one night, fell on her breast. She took a 40-ounce beer bottle, swung and hit me, and I ran out the store. Miss Cindy Pittman had about 2 months before she's supposed to have made that statement. She had a child, she had a baby, a newborn baby. The baby died in her house. The officer went by, took the report, he listed the death as foul play. Mickey Biggs got up with this person, coerced her to make a statement against me. And I think it was, he was going to charge her with the death of the child, but if she made a statement that he would let her go, and all she have to do is just make a statement against Sergeant McNeil. So it went on. But the main thing is that they accused me of it. They accused me of that, engaging in sex first on November 16th. And all it boils down to, whenever they found out that it wasn't my voice that was transmitted over the police band radio, through by another police officer, Officer Kevin Graham, he came forth and told them it was his radio that was transmitting, and he was trying to arrest a female there on Water Street. And at that time, Mickey Biggs and the chief, they knew then that it wasn't me, that I wasn't guilty of what they accused me of. At that time, they supposed to have stopped the investigation, not go another step forward, and just discontinue the investigation. But they was too strung out there. They had went so far until they were afraid to turn around and go back and redo everything and come to me and tell me they were sorry and just forget about everything. But I wouldn't have forgot about everything, because they had done already carried me down the road, and I didn't feel like turning around going back. But
Let me ask you some questions. The young ladies, did we get to the part where you were talking about the young ladies that were walking down the street that was approached by Mickey Biggs that ended up being family of yours? Did we talk about that yet? Let's talk about that.
No.
And
some distant cousins of mine, they was two females. They was walking down Main Street just off Martin Luther King Drive one night. Mickey Biggs drove up on them in a unmarked Trans Am, red in color, jumped out the car and told them that he was needing them to file a sexual harassment complaint against Sergeant McNeil. The two ladies then turned and looked at him and said, "Who are you talking about, Big Duke?" And the two females said, well, that's what the two females said. Mickey Biggs then said back to them, "Yes, Walter McNeil, Big Duke, Sergeant McNeil. And the two young ladies, they said, they told Mickey Biggs, they say, hey, Big Duke don't do no stuff like that. And furthermore, Big Duke is our cousin. And he don't sexual harass no woman because he don't have to.
Wow. So he approached them.
Yes.
And asked them if they would make a statement towards you, and they informed him that that's our cousin.
Yeah,
And
that's our cousin. In fact, he had offered to pay these women. These women, they usually do anything for money.
Mm-hmm.
But that particular time, they knew I wasn't guilty or nothing like that. They knew I wouldn't do anything like that.
Let me ask you another question. You had said that there was a young lady that was asked to sign an affidavit, a blank affidavit. Have we talked about that yet?
No, ma'am.
Let's talk about that. What happened there?
Cynthia Powell, she worked at Shortstop, local convenience store. Mickey Biggs kept going by trying to get up with her. So Cynthia's a convicted felon. So Cynthia, every time he go by there, her co-worker would go to her and say, hey Cynthia, Mickey Biggs been looking for you. And she was wondering what did Mickey Biggs want with her. So it went on for about 2 months. One day Cynthia Powell decided to go over to the police department to get up with Mickey Biggs. She got up with Mickey Biggs, and Mickey Biggs called her back in the office and they talked. She stated to a couple of members of the NAACP that whenever she talked with Mickey Biggs, that Mickey sat down and told her what he was wanting to do to Sergeant McNeil, and she didn't have to worry about writing a statement. He took a blank sheet of paper, carried it to the chief of police secretary, Miss Reva Jones, a blank sheet of paper. She notarized that blank sheet of paper. Cynthia didn't sign it. Mickey Biggs, he signed it. But the chief secretary notarized a blank sheet of paper without a statement on it.
But on that was supposed to be something, because they were telling you that they had women's testimonies against you that they were going to use in court.
Filing sexual harassment.
And all this time, they were women that he was going to, telling that he wanted them to file these reports or these affidavits, and he wanted them to sign it. But they both, all of them, initially refused. The young lady, you're saying she didn't give her signature.
Right.
And so, but through the proceedings, they kept saying they have young ladies' testimonies.
Right.
But through court, were they ever able to produce witnesses' testimonies or written signed affidavits from these women?
During court, they had this, they never did get the women to come to court to the grievancy hearing that I had applied for, and I had. They never would come to the grievancy hearing, and ladies never did show up. But they had false documentation where the women supposed to have filed sexual harassment complaints against me.
But they never showed up in court.
They never showed up.
Okay. And again, remembering that they were having documents notarized without certain signatures at some point that you know of.
Yes.
Okay.